Start recording now. Okay, so yeah, we are on the second position now, and you can see it. I think you can see it. You can guess it, but of files. F crosses E5. Okay, pawn at F crosses E5. Uh, but then knight will take it, and then how do you win? Knight is coming to E5, which is a good square for the knight. It is defending F7. It is also attacking the bishop to at C4. So there is not much you can do, right? You will have to retreat the bishop, and then black will play probably D5 or castle or whatever, D6 they might play. So the anyone else wants to take a shot at it? See, I will give you a clue. White is ahead in development. White is already castled. White's rook is ready to pounce upon on the open F file. Black is not yet castled, slightly behind in development. Okay, so F crosses E5 immediately does not work. Yeah, Uday also, ROE also. So the trick is bishop takes F7, check, sacrifice. Okay, bishop takes F7. King has no option other than taking the bishop at F7. After that, you play F to E5. Okay, so now you are threatening to win the knight. So you have already taken one pawn. Now you have captured a second pawn. Plus you are threatening to win the F6 knight, which is now pinned and attacked by the pawn. Okay, so obviously black has to take it. So F takes E5, knight takes E5, right? And can you see now the double attack blow? Queen to D5, queen to D5 check. The F6 knight is pinned, so it cannot come to the rescue. And there is nothing else you cannot block, you cannot capture, which means you have to only avoid by moving the king. And when you move the king, then what is gone? The knight on E5 is gone because queen is attacking it. So white wins a pawn here, plus devastates the king position because he moves around and also he cannot castle anymore. And by the time now the rook has also got an open file. So bishop takes F7 is the tactic here. Okay, you should always remember to evaluate bishop takes F7. The whole idea of Italian game is to attack on the F7. So always keep it in your mind. All right, let us go to the third position. This is surprising. It means I also did not get this when I saw the position, to be precise. So it is surprising move. No, I mean, not fully surprising, but you never think that such a move will actually win you something based on your general experience. No, in this position, yeah, Uday is suggesting something, but I don't think that will lead to equal exchange. That will not lead to. That will not lead to. Any other guesses? Uday has made one guess. Ah, okay, yes. So yeah, I see one more guess coming. Yep, I think Arin has got it right. So I will go ahead and tell it. So bishop to E3. Okay, bishop to E3, double attack on the, not double attack, it is called as concentration of force on the D4. Okay, now threatening to win the knight on D4. So so what does black has got only one? I mean, black has combinations really you can say, but not really. I mean, so bishop to e3. Now knight goes to e6. That is a standard thing, right? Knight will go back to e6 and say I am defending the bishop on c5 also. But then what happens is white bishop takes e6. The c4 bishop takes e6. Okay. Now if pawn takes the bishop back, then bishop on c5 will fall. Right. So black also does not take the bishop at e6. Black takes the bishop at e3. So remember this position, bishop e3 first, knight goes to e6 here, white bishop takes the knight, black bishop takes the white bishop at e3. But at this point of time, if simply white takes the back e3, then black will also take on e6 and it will be equal. But there is the knight on e5. Using that, what white does is white further takes on f7. Okay, white further takes on f7 and gives a check. So that is where it leads to win of a, you can say effectively white would have won equivalent of 2 pawns because the black king position is shattered, castling is shattered. And after that again white bishop will, after check again, if rook takes it, then white knight will also take it back and then again win the bishop. So it is like a very advantageous position for white. So this is the sequence, bishop to e3. Okay. What else can black play? Nothing else that black really can play. Queen to e7 will not help, right? Queen to e7 will not help because white will simply take the knight on e4, sorry, d4, and again protect the knight on e5. Black takes the bishop, again white will take it with the queen again. So there is nothing, no danger or nothing. So it's a clear this one. So yeah. So all right. So I think fine. So what we are okay, Rishita is saying she cannot join the tournament. Okay, that's fine. I think so. I will leave the last one as an exercise. I think you can anyway. It is there in the handout. You can just check what is the thing. I think we had seen this game also. I believe briefly. So you will recognize this. So fine. I think so. We will move on and we will move on to the briefly. I'm going to cover. What is incoming error? Rishita, you are part of the team, so you should not have any issue joining the tournament. I don't know what is the error that you are getting. Maybe you can send me the screenshot on WhatsApp. I will see. Okay, all right, let's go to the, this is the strategy, important strategy that you can, I mean, what you need to follow, right? Opening, it's kind of review, but just, I mean, a recap as well as, I mean, I think so. So do you remember so what is the desired outcome that you want out of the opening? If you are white, then this is what you would like to have a position like this, right? Beautifully developed, both knights developed, both bishops developed, white king is castled, queen is also there in the central thing, and both rooks have joined the central file. Obviously, this cannot happen when the black is simply sitting idle, but it is showing an ideal way of development. So just to recap, get all your minor pieces out towards the center. At least a share of the center you should have it here, though it is white has got e4 and d4, which means you are actually kind of dominating the center. Get your king out to safety by castling and get your rooks out of the corner towards the center where the lines are going to open, right? And when struggle will take place. So this should be your strategy for the opening phase of the game, right? So this is your opening. Then I, any questions on this opening strategy? So then let us go to the middle game. right? Middle game. What is the strategy? Use space and open lines to attack, right? If you have extra space you are controlling, use it to your advantage. See, use that to and if there are open lines, then control them using your rooks and use that to attack, right? Always think about what your opponent is trying to do, because in the middle game it is like your strategy versus your opponent's strategy. So not only you should have a strategy, but you have to actively oppose the strategy and create blockers or hindrances within for the opponent's strategy. So you also have to think a little bit from what your opponent is trying to do, right, and take action against it. And most important thing, look for tactics. I think we have looked at many sessions we spent on tactics, right, and the 6 basic types of tactics. So you should have the tactical vision to look for a tactic wherever, and especially remember to look out for a tactic when either you are to move and you have a look at all captures, look at all checks. And similarly, when also when you are to move, look at what the opponent will do after your move. What are all the captures that he can do, especially, and checks, because that is where more tactics are around those areas, captures and so you can be you have to be extra vigilant when those things are possible. So this again we have discussed it as part of our blunders plan also, I think, or how to avoid blunders. So tactical vision and always being alert is important, right? Then what is the next thing? Then towards the end game, right? End game. So when we come to the end game, the strategy is to win opponent's pawns, because pawns are very important in the end game because they will become queen finally, right? So most of the time, because you will oppose each other's pieces, they will exchange it off. Rook queen will go for queen, rook will go for rook, whatever. Finally, somewhere the pawn will be there, or maybe some 1 or 2 minor pieces and pawns. But finally, the win is unless you go get a checkmate in the middle game, or some significant material advantage where the opponent resigns, right? If that does not happen, then if you have to play the end game, means you have to win it in the end game, means you have to most probably you have to queen the pawn, one of the pawns at least. So both of them are trying to do it, so you should be attacking and winning the other party's pawns. Okay, and that doesn't mean you should lose pieces, but obviously, right? But move, then second is move your pawns. Once there are no other pieces, if there are no other pieces left, that means it is simplified, then only other pawns can take you, and that you can see, you can calculate it pretty accurately, right? I mean, pawns can take only in particular way, they cannot just roam around the board. So it becomes much simplified. Still there are complexities, but it is relatively simplified. So then you should try to move your pawns, not just have them at the back. So because the pawns are destined to go up and become a queen in the end game. So that is, you always have to look for that, right? And also kufte strategy. Kufte means king up for the ending, because ultimately in the end game, the kings play a very active role, very major role. They will determine, in fact, how whether you win or not, etc. So king has to come out. uh, Opening we say it should go into castling, middle game also it should stay back, but as soon as the end game is approaching, the king also has to come up from g1 or g8, or whether it is on c1 b1 or c8 b8 or wherever it is castled, but king has to start coming towards the, most of the time the king has to come towards the center. There are positions when king has to go to one side and all in the end game, depending on the demands of the situation, but most of the time king has to come in the center, and then it has to decide where to go, right, left, or whatever it is, forward, behind, attack or defense. But most of the time it has to come towards the center to be effective. So remember that that is the strategy of the end game. And and then these are the general principles. If you are ahead, recap of what our strategy, don't relax, always be alert. because it is easy to relax and then lose to some tactic. So remain alert, keep control of the center or of the open file or whatever it is. Try to keep control of the key squares. Swap pieces off, exchange pieces if you are really ahead. Like if you are one piece ahead, etc., then try to exchange the other pieces so that you will go into the end game with an extra bishop or a knight, and then it becomes much easier to kill all the pawns, opponent's pawns, using your extra piece. But if you are an extra piece and you are in the middle game, opponent has got three pieces, you have four pieces, it is not so clear, right? I mean, depending on how, where the pieces are distributed, what is the king safety, all of those come into picture, and it can go anyway. So the strategy, if you are very much ahead, is to exchange pieces, not the pawns. Leave the pawns on the board. The pawns have to finally go and queen and give you the winning advantage. And on the other side, if you are behind, then what is the strategy? Don't give up. Get some counter play. Means it's okay even if you are materially down, but if you are checking with your queen, maybe rook is at participating against an attack on the king, or you are creating some advanced passed pawns on the other side, uh, which can throw the balance away. Even if materially you are down, but your pawn is say two steps away from queening, that will lead to a very different kind of a situation. Arohi, you might remember our game where I made some blunders. You were practically winning the game outright, but all I just managed to do is get my pawn from e5 to d6 to c7, and then that c7 pawn and the queening threat really created a whole lot of trouble. So yeah, I mean that kind of things will happen. So especially when the pawns are advanced. So get counterplay, get to either for with counterplay, which typically with a attack against the king, or getting your pawns to an advanced stage, or some whatever some other tactics. So that is the thing. And the other one is if you are behind, then try to exchange of all the pawns, because then there is a chance that see you. It is quite possible that one side is one piece ahead, but remember in the in the end game, if all pawns are gone and you have an extra bishop or you have an extra knight, it is no use. You cannot checkmate the lone king. So remember that. So it what is true in the normal stages of the game, an extra bishop in the opening or the middle game is like deadly. I mean, you should be able to finish off, but not necessarily in the end game. So there are so many end games where, where the entire strategy is based on even sacrificing your bishop or a knight for killing the opponent's pawns. Okay, and let the other side be winning with a, because you are down. So if you try to simply defend other ways, no, you cannot defend it. Then there are tactics where sacrifice your piece for the opponent's pawns. Okay, and then if the all the pawns are gone, then it's a completely different end game, right? So this is what I wanted to cover in the strategy. Now in the second page of this handout which I'm going to send, there is a game where all the strategies have been kind of mapped out. So there is it's a club level game, but like what do you do? Get out in the first is get out your pieces in the opening. So you can see that after this how both the sides have got the pieces out. Then get at least a stakes in the center. You will see that how that has been played. So this is a game to illustrate all the strategies that we talked about. So you can go through this game at your leisure, maybe tomorrow or whatever. So once I will send it. But this has got a game which is not ending in the middle game. So this has got all these strategies are applied. One side in the material, exchange the pieces, keep the pawns, then drive the pawns of the board to become a queen, etc. So all of that you can see it in an illustrative game. Yeah, win the opponent's pawns, push your pawns to promote as a queen. All of this you'll see it in this game. Okay. All right. So this is about strategy. So overall, what you can follow this one. So yeah, any questions, any other things that you have? Yeah, I will send a handout. I will send. Okay, Rishita has sent me the WhatsApp. Let me see. What is the must be? Yeah, Rishita, you are part of the Morpheus L2A team. So why are you getting the error? Are you logging in from some other ID by any mistake? I think you have your dad's ID also sometimes, Rishita. Because I remember the other day when you were also trying to join it in. So I guess that may be the error. Okay, what is the ID that you are logging in? Because your dad's ID is also there, Ramesh Adika one. So see what is the ID that you are. As Rishita, you will be able to log in. All right. Okay. So coming back. Okay. Any other question? Rishita, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. You are. Let me just check on the. But fine. I think we are done with this one. So I'm going to stop.